From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
the head of automotive and motorsports development for the Indiana Economic Development Corporation speaks to the IEDC's plans to bring more motorsports and aerospace business to Indiana. June is Pride Month, offering several opportunities to learn or teach about equity and diversity. And we meet an author, an Indy 500 fan who shares the lessons he's learned from a life watching the speed.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
It is time to get started. The Speedway reports more than 330,000 people went to this year's Indianapolis 500, one of the biggest crowds in decades. Not everyone was there just to watch the race. Some were there doing business and looking at the future of auto racing.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Raleigh Helmling is the head of automotive and motorsports development for the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. He speaks to the IEDC's plans to bring more motorsports and aerospace business to Indiana.
Racing is in our DNA in Indiana. There's no doubt about it. It's a huge industry. It's very diverse. And as a matter of fact, recently we had the Indiana Business Research Council, part of the Kelley School of IU, do a survey for us. The average salary in auto racing is $80,000 a year. So it is a significant contributor to the economy of the state of Indiana. But you know, wherever you go, people always ask you, when they hear you're from Indiana, about the Indianapolis 500. It is a huge part of our brand, and it's very significant, the growth that we're experiencing right now in all forms of motor racing and motorsports throughout our state. The technology that we learn from motorsports or from auto racing can apply to many other things. There's a real technology transfer there. And quite honestly, it's a big part of our defense initiative because there's so much crossover there. Also aviation, aerospace, advanced automotive, and advanced materials like composites and lightweight metals. Well, what's happening is a lot of our motorsports companies are diversifying, and they're getting into defense and aerospace aviation. So we're just seeing a lot of transfers there. And then companies that are in defense are very interested in Indiana because they recognize the value of our racing industry here in the Hoosier State. You mentioned the Ray Hall Letterman shop in Zionsville, which is a fantastic facility. We as a state worked with them to find a location and have that built here in Indiana. We also worked very closely with Andretti Autosport with the phenomenal new facility they're building in Fishers. But we're also working with other facets, such as drag racing. We're fast becoming the epicenter for drag racing, too. And then all forms of oval track racing, open wheel oval track racing. So many of those cars and components are manufactured right here in Indiana. So we are very diverse in our motorsports, and it applies to essentially all sectors. One of the things that's very important is the engineering aspect that comes to motorsports. I mean, these cars are very highly technical. As you mentioned, they're very aerodynamic. They're essentially an airplane that's stuck to the ground by four tires. And so many of those concepts apply. And so consequently, we have a great need for advanced mechanics, people who understand advanced mechanical things, and for engineering. And you know, Indiana University, Purdue University, soon to be Purdue University, is the only university in the country that offers a degree in motorsports engineering. And we have students come from all over the world to get their degree from that program. Well, the bulk of those students stay here. As all of our IndyCar teams are growing, they're snatching up some of these very talented young people at an amazing rate. And these are people who very talented, very sharp, work very hard. This is not an easy business, and they make great salaries and they're very dedicated to it.
Time to talk about running your business day to day. June is Pride Month, a month that helps inform all about equity and diversity.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Running your business day to day.
Jay Castillo Jimenez is the Community Vice President for Indy Pride.
I mean, I think we talk about the climate that we're living in right now, and we're kind of being attacked as a community. So with Indy Pride, we try to just create safe spaces for everyone in our community. You think queer, you think LGBTQIA+, but there's so many smaller communities within that, and our goal is just to provide that safe environment for everyone. So whether you're Black, white, Asian, tall, short, doesn't matter what you look like or where you come from, there is a space for you to celebrate who you are. And that's just how we partner with different organizations, different community leaders, just all over the state, not even just Indianapolis, just to make sure that we're creating and we're like putting effort into just making sure that everyone feels seen. I think that's the biggest thing for us. We were in a long time in the closet, and now it's like our time to shine and our time to be seen and our time to prosper. And that's our main goal, is just to make sure that everyone feels safe and that they have an equal opportunity as anybody else. I think we have different conversations when it comes to businesses. We have the education piece, and then we have obviously funding. So being a nonprofit, obviously everything that we do, every event that we do, it doesn't happen unless we have sponsors, right? So like on the education piece, and I'll just name a few, like the Mexican consulate here in Indianapolis, the FBI, we have done education sessions with their employees to teach them about like what is LGBT, what is the community, what is the queer community here in Indy, what is the proper language that they can use, and how do they create those safe spaces in their companies. So obviously that's that first layer. And then the second layer is just obviously like what does that business relationship look like? So sponsorship, there's different levels. We pass out sponsor packets every season, and obviously you get different benefits from it. But obviously we don't just want it to be monetary. We always want to see like what does that conversation look like, and also like what are you doing to make sure that our community is feeling safe. So whether that is like placing your logo on a flyer, or you walking in the parade, you being on the festival, or just showing up. We've had to go to the State House so many times, and it's like, what are some of those businesses doing to support us and support our cause outside of June? What is happening throughout the whole year? So just making sure that we're keeping those conversations going and those partnerships. I think with our executive director, it's a very important point to just make sure that we keep that dialogue going all year long as to how we can work together. It's not just for Indy Pride, but also for their business. From Salesforce all the way to the smallest business you can find maybe on Mass Ave. It doesn't matter what size you are, we will partner and we will continue to just work together and build that partnership. I can't give you an exact number right now, but that was the biggest festival that Indy Pride has ever had. And coming back from COVID, it's just like, what a great way to come back for our community. Whose business doesn't want to be present during the festival or the parade, whether that's you're on a float. This year, the parade has grown from 143 participants, which was last year like businesses or organizations, to 183 this year. Yes, does it make it a longer parade and you may have to sit a little longer, but like you're celebrating more businesses and more people that are walking beside us. Like what a great way. Like what was Pride? It started as a riot, right? So like walking down Mass Ave, like this is like our area here in downtown, and it's just a great way to celebrate. And then at the festival, we've doubled food vendors. Almost every vendor we have doubled and grown because of feedback that we've gotten and more interest that we have received as well. Artists, we had 178 people apply. I mean, we have 3 stages. We hope to have more, but it's just impacting so many different sides of businesses, whether that's in marketing, food, hair, resources, all over the city. And like, we're just happy to bring all that together for our community. It's important conversations because some people may have had bad past or bad experiences with certain businesses in the medical field or just anywhere. And that's a space where, like, hey, they see you there and they feel welcome to go and talk to you and tell you about their experience or ask questions about, like, hey, what are you guys doing new? What's different? What's changed? How are you making sure that if I walk into your business or your organization or a game or anything, that I feel safe, that I'm not going to be attacked. So just making sure that you are there having those conversations one-on-one. And also, like, we invite them to come to board meetings. Like, you can come and talk to our board. Community members can come and talk as well. We can mediate those conversations as well. Transparency goes a long way. And even just, like, me willing to just listen versus, like, going back and forth with you arguing goes a long way. Like, I'm not here to argue with you. Like, let's see where this pain is coming from, and let's see how we can work together. I'm always one to say, hey, I hear you, but bring me a solution. There's only so many of us, and this is a huge community. So, like, bring me solutions. Join the board. Join a committee. Like, come talk to us. Because, like I said, if you don't let us know, like, we can't do any better. But we're also undoing a lot of damage that, like, was done even by the same organization in the past. So a lot of people are still, like, rebuilding that trust with us. Just making sure that we're starting. We just have to start it and kind of breaking some of those bad experiences and trauma that we want to just bring together. Because if they don't know, if they're not aware that they're doing a mistake, we have to let them know. But they also have to be willing to listen and to change those things in their businesses.
Events at Indianapolis Motor Speedway bring together all kinds of people looking to make connections. Do it often enough, and the number of confections can lead to a success story worth writing about.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities Success Story.
Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk provides expert advice and training to car and truck dealerships and service centers across America, Canada, Australia. He's also written a book about a topic that gets to the heart of our community. It's called What I've Learned from Attending Over 40 Indy 500s.
Well, my history here started back when I was about 20 years old. This is my 41st Indy 500. That's why I wrote the book, Attending 40 Indy 500s. But it started back when I was 20 when I started coming. I was raised on the east side of Indianapolis in a very humble beginning, and we never got to come. But I started working for a lady named Bev Nelson in 1980, I think 83, I'm sorry. And she could see I was a good salesperson, but I didn't have any motivation. So she started taking me and showing me different things I could do if I would get motivated and make money. One year, her and her husband brought me out here, set me in the grandstands, and from then I was hooked from the very first second I walked in. So that's how I got started here. Well, you know what? I saw it the first time I was here. The first time I was here, the Thompson Eva wins, and you could see, she was kind enough, Bev did, she walked us to the pits, and these were the titans of business. These were people, the sponsors that were here, you could tell, they were the CEOs, the owners of the companies, and then you get down on pit road and you got Roger Penske, and he owns everything that he owns. And so then you saw the drivers and their strategies, and I got lucky enough to go into the pit, the garage area, and I heard them talking about their strategies for the race and how they were going to do this and how they were going to do that. And I started thinking, this is nothing more or less than business. This is the business of winning a race. And I was lucky enough to have the racing radios, and I could listen to the drivers and the teams as they were driving, and you heard the strategies. And you said, there's so much of this stuff that they're doing that'd be applicable to what I do in sales and what people do in management and leadership and running businesses that I need to take note. So just over the years, I would come and I would see something, and it would apply to my life at the time, and I'd learn a lesson from it and apply it to my what I did. Yeah, we've had quite a few, actually. We've had Ed Carpenter's teams connected with us, his sponsors, ask us to do some presentations for them. I passed out the book to everybody that I wrote about in there. So from that standpoint, they all said thank you, and they thought it was a really great book, and they appreciated me writing nice things about it. It was funny because when I put out the first book, the 35 years, not the 40 years now, but the 35 years, I was staying down at the Conrad Hotel, and we were coming down race morning, and Roger Penske was on the elevator. And I had a book, and I gave it. I said, hey, Mr. Penske, I know you hate this, but I wrote this book about the Indy 500, and I said, I wrote about you in it. And it was funny because he looked at me and he goes, well, did you say nice things? And I said, of course I did. You're Roger Penske. How can you say anything bad? Because, again, about 6 years ago, I wrote, what I learned from attending 35 Indy 500s. And how I got to the 40 is my grandson's 9 years old, and he read the book. And he said, hey, Pop, he said, how come you didn't write about any of the current drivers, my favorite driver, Andre Rossi, or anybody? He said, you should do that. So I said, you know what, it's been 5 years, so I'll add 5 chapters to the book. And so based on him, because now he wants to be an IndyCar driver, I would think there's at the very least a 50-year, but probably a 45. Well, you know, one of the main things I got out of it is you have to have a good last impression. You know, everybody teaches in sales and business that the first impression is the most important thing. And it is very important, because if you don't like me in 3 or 4 minutes, chances are you're not going to want to talk to me, right? But everybody, it seems like, gets that skill down very, very quick. So what I've learned over time is, and I learned it from the race, it's what they last remember. And the example I use in the book is when Pagenaud won the race. Pagenaud came out here that year, he won the Grand Prix, he sat on the pole, and he basically dominated that race. And although every Indy 500 is an exciting race, you know, to the casual fan, to the people like me and you that go a lot, it was kind of a boring race until lap 185. And then the red comes out, and then they restart the race, and now it's a 5-car shootout, you know, to the finish. And what's crazy about that is people went from kind of yawning to standing on their feet, yelling and screaming. And I've learned that around the world, the most requested race to watch now is that race when he won it, because all they remember is the last, 5 to 10 laps. It was the last impression. And so if you can learn the skill, and we teach that in the book, how to make a great last impression, you're miles ahead of the competition.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV, or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunity Show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.